Hi everyone. If you are the main visitor of a dementia resident in a dementia facility, chances are you've been looking after this person for many years with dementia. It can be and often is a very exhausting journey. So how do you cope with this ongoing exhaustion once you come to the dementia facility? Well, the best way to go about this really is to come at the easy visiting time, and that is morning and afternoon tea. So to help exhaustion, two ways to help is relaxation and enjoyment. And if you can get the window seat, cup of tea and cake for you and your relative, sit there in the sun for 10, 15, 20 minutes, that is very good for relaxation, reducing tension, increasing energy and getting self-strength back. So just an example of how this all works. Say, for example, if you are a committed, loving daughter and you've been looking after your mother for many years, maybe she's lived next door on her own and you've been, over there every day for years to help her out, but now she's just come into the facility. You're working part-time, you've got children, grandchildren, and the whole thing is like stretch city in terms of love, resources, kindness, compassion, everything. So you've hit bottom of the barrel pretty much in terms of your own resources, but you still want to visit mum, you still want to be there for her, but you need to be able to manage it so that you don't sort of wipe yourself out. So you've decided now that this morning tea time is a very good time to come, because it's an activity, having a cup of tea and a piece of cake. It's relaxing, sitting in the sun, getting the special alcove with the two-seater. You've worked that out, so you come 10 minutes early before morning tea so that you can get the nice seat. And it's enjoyable, because that's when you've discovered other relatives often come as well at morning tea, those that don't work, especially the elderly husbands. So everyone's getting a nice cup of tea or coffee just the way they like it. So actually, a lot of informal networks can happen at that morning tea. I mean, it just seems to be a morning tea, but a lot goes on around the morning tea. Firstly, why coming at morning tea is a good idea is because that is the time in a dementia unit where up to that point, all cares, showering, dressing, hair washing, bed making, everything's done, dusted and settled. All the residents are in the lounge ready for the ubiquitous cup of tea. So once you arrive, at morning tea that your mother will be ready. You're not having to wait around, 10, 20, 30 minutes for her cares to be done before you can see her. So you're sitting there all set up. You don't have to organize anything. The nice carer comes along, and a lot can be done at that time. For example, if your mother likes her cup of tea weak, no milk, no sugar, for example, you can check that that is the case. I mean, she may have, what's been happening, maybe your mother's said to you, too strong, the cup of tea. So you can say to the carer that's dishing out the cup of tea, mum likes her tea weak, no milk, no sugar. Can you please mention that to the rest of the staff? Now that will go through to the notes, and then it will go through to the charge nurse, and that cup of tea will ongoingly be weak with no milk and no sugar, because the relative has suggested that. So that's a really important part of the day, to get your cup of tea right when you're an older person living in a dementia unit. So many people sitting there are not having their cup of tea the way they like it if it hasn't been explained to them, if they haven't been able to explain, or a relative hasn't explained, properly and made sure that it goes through the system. And you can do that even though you're exhausted. You can just quietly say that to the lovely carer while she's serving the cup of tea. Now, another advantage of this cup of tea time in terms of informal networks is you can sometimes tease out information from the cup of tea server rather than having to go to the main desk and make a fuss. to get the nurse and ask such things. So, for example, you can say to the nice girl serving the cup of tea, oh, by the way, have you seen Mum's blue Angora cardigan with the zip? And I haven't been able to find it in her room, and it's a really good one because it goes with all her outfits. She's always loved it. It's really comfortable. It would be really good if we could find it. And the carer may well say, well, actually, I think I've seen that in one of the other rooms. I don't think it's got a name on it. And yeah, you didn't get round to that because you were so exhausted. You didn't, you only managed to get half the gear named. And, so yes, that's right. Actually, I didn't name that. Well, then the carer may well say, would you like me to put it in a plastic bag and write on it the name of your mother and send it to the laundry, just for naming only, not washing, because the woolens need to be hand washed, otherwise they come back a matted mess. Well, that was good information just there, learning that. So I can put the cardie in a plastic bag, put your mother's name on it, and it can be labelled at the laundry so that it doesn't, so that it won't get lost again. Or if it does get lost in someone else's room, the carers will know and be able to return it to your mother's room. There we go. A whole lot of information you knew nothing about, just, being a new relative and your mother having just entered the unit. So that's just a practical thing, but it can cause a lot of stress trying to find stuff that your mother's lost or someone else has lost or whatever. And it's at the cup of tea time that you can learn about all these things. So you've decided that going and having a cup of 80% of stuff you can work out at the cup of tea time. I mean, you can make friends with the other ladies, and the other people that come in at morning tea time, and of course share notes of other, problems or difficulties or information, like there may be a new carer on. And also when you are having a cup of tea with your mother, say the next day you come in, you can ask her, well, has Mum got a main carer? I understand that with the 30 residents here, there's about 4 carers, and people, the residents each have a main carer, and I would like to be introduced to them so I can speak to them and just get to know them. And the girl that serves the cup of tea, lucky day, might well say, well, it's me, I'm the main carer for your mother. Well, that's a godsend, because then as she serves the cup of tea, you can ask the little ever important questions, of which there are always many in a dementia unit. At the cup of tea time, while you're relaxing, having a cup of tea, no stress, no effort. So this has been a bit of a coup, this cup of tea, easy visit time. And you can find after a week of just having this nice time with your mother, just half an hour, you're not staying anymore because you're saving your strength and energy, that your energy is starting to build up and you're beginning to feel a bit better. And it's actually quite enjoyable coming at that morning tea time. Music, nice music playing in the background. You don't have to do anything. You're getting a nice cup of tea, having a little chat to your mother. And, you can feel, you've always been a strong person, so you can feel your strength coming back. And of course, the future is such that your mother is going to be looked after in this facility. So you're not having to bear the brunt of that. So that's good in terms of future energy. So you're beginning to feel more hopeful. The equation's looking a lot more hopeful, and enjoying your morning teas with your mother and relaxing in the sunshine. Actually, it's just about as good as any therapy you could have done at home, in fact, you're beginning to realize. So this is just a nice way of being able to save your strength, improve your strength, lift the exhaustion, and still be able to visit your mother and not sort of give up on the whole equation, which when you're totally exhausted can often feel like an easier option. And procrastination can come into the bargain with that as well. But never mind, you're there for your mother and it's all working out. So I've just written, thank you for that, the end of the video, the 2 books, The Resident's Voice and The Resident's Rise. I've written both these books. You can get them on Amazon or in the description below, website pietavalentine.com. And thank you for your looks and your likes and your recent subscriptions. Thank you.